Hi, Global Witchy fans. So today we're going to talk about Oya. And Kat had asked me to do a video on her, and most especially to have some of her stories brought up. And the great thing about the Odishas, I think why we identify ourselves with them so well, is that they're so human. They have fights. They get angry with each other. They try to kill each other. They cheat on each other. It's really, really awesome. And so when I first started to try to do some research into stories, I was just really having a hard time finding the right one or finding something that really stood out to me. So I just said, oh yeah, come through here. Tell me what you want. What do you want? Show me what you want. And so after that, everything was just like boom, 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 boom. And I was like, thank you. And I'm sure Katz is not going to be completely surprised that Oya wants at least 2 to 3 parts series on this. So I'm going to do at least 2 and possibly a 3rd series, because after I do the 2nd one, I'll know if I have to do a 3rd one, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a 3-part series. So thank you, Cats. And what I really loved about it is that this time when I did the research on her and I started going back to, some of the stories about her, I really connected. And so I really felt like it was, important for me. It wasn't it wasn't an accident that Katz asked me to work on her. What was really interesting is that I had a reading by Tata Oriate, and if you haven't had one, I highly suggest you do so. He first opened up, and immediately when he started talking to me, and this was Apollo reading, so Oya and Ochun were the ones who first were there when he opened up his, the way he does his readings, not with cards, obviously. And I was surprised because Ochun, I was not surprised about at all. I was so excited, but I was like, oh yeah, I don't really know that much about her. I don't really resonate with her. Like, I'm surprised that that she's one of my gals, and when I started to do this research again, because I had done this before, I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. Okay. So, all right. So I'm also going to talk about, of course, I have to talk about things that are associated with her, things that who she's syncretized to, and I'm also going to do kind of almost an invocation to invoke her, and so you can feel her presence. And the words, I really love what I found. So I think that this will be, what I want is, by the time you're done watching this, I want you to feel like Oya's presence. Like, you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. This is crazy. She's like right here with me. That's the feeling that I want you to get during this series that I'm going to be doing. So, okay, so the first thing is, okay, she has a couple of names. The one that really stood out for me was Yansa. She's an Odisha. All the Odishas are nature based. They have some power in nature, and hers is tempests and tornadoes and hurricanes, thunder and lightning, and she's fierce. She's really, really fierce. It's not an Odisha that you want to work with if you're not going to have full respect for her, okay? She's also the Odisha of the cemetery. And I'll be in part 2. I'm really going to get into that, okay? And she's also the Odisha of the marketplace. The other thing I found really interesting is where I really feel like I resonate with her is that she's a witch also, and a lot of the stuff that I came across. And so she's also called the great mother of the elders, and the elders being the witches. So I thought that was like, woo! So now I'm like, okay, now I get it. Her number, of course, is 9. And so if you ever want to do like altar work with her, 9 copper pennies. She loves copper. Before, I believe it was bronze, but since bronze, we left the Bronze Age, now it's copper. Anything associated with the wind. What I thought was really cute I saw was wind chimes, or the little spinning wheels that we had as kids back in the day. and when the wind hits it, it spins really, really fast. So you could do something like that. Her colors are any dark colors. Her favorite darkest colors are like a dark wine. That's like her favorite. And if you want to put anything on the altar as far as offerings, eggplant or the dark grapes, anything of of that shade, of that color. And what I love is I found out the crystals that she's associated with. And the reason why this is important is because I'm going to do some videos on when you do your altar work, bringing in any stone. It could be stones. I have stones that I haven't identified, that they're from, just nature walks and stuff like that. But I also, of course, have crystals, which I'm really going to try to explain how you can incorporate that. And hers are bloodstone, garnet, amethyst, which is one of my favorites, labradorite, and tourmaline. And of course the darker stones like a garnet, she really, really likes that because of the color. And so I'm just making sure that I'm getting everything. And I don't know if I said she's the Orisha of the Marqueta. She's of the marketplace. So I just wanted to make sure. And she's associated with the astrological signs of Scorpio, not surprising at all, and Capricorn. So I was like, oh, yes, I am not surprised Scorpio's in there. Okay, so she's also a very fierce goddess warrior, a female warrior. And she doesn't just back up her man when he goes to war. She's right there next to him. She's side by side. And so she's definitely somebody who would be a patron of women when they're really trying to face some difficult times and difficult men and difficult changes in their life. She is the transformer of your life, but she doesn't do it in a calm, relaxing, let's transition kind of way. She just fucks everything up. She just like, that's it. Everything is completely destroyed. If you're just consider her like a tornado. She leaves a path of destruction behind. But if you think about it, even with like a volcano, even though there's this massive destruction, afterward, the soil is the best in the world, and you can really use that to to build beautiful crops. And so that's what she does for you. She just lays out the playing field completely. Okay. She can be the really most compassionate person, and she can be a mother-like figure where she shelters you, but she can also, she's not the one that you want to get angry. There's no build-up. There's no, okay, I'll give you a chance. It's just instant. That's it. So she's really, really a goddess of extremes, okay? And so now, if you want to know, if you're kind of thinking, is she my Orisha, is this somebody I work with or I should work with, or has she chosen me? I'm wondering if she chose me. And so these are some characteristics that you can look at and say, okay, you know what, let me look at this list and I'll see, what resonates with me here. Okay, so if you're one of these people who has sudden bursts of anger where you're just like, everybody knows basically what your trigger points are, and to just not mess with it, So if you're one of these people who just instantly, you cannot filter yourself, like you can't filter your mouth before you say something. If you feel like, you just have to be really, really honest all the time, and you have to tell the truth, and you don't like liars, and you don't like people who don't tell the truth, you're definitely probably a child of Oya. I know someone who that is her, and she's in the forefront of her personality, and I basically had to tell her to do some offerings to calm it down, because that perspective, that side had gotten her through a lot of bad times in her life. Oya's darker side had gotten her through a lot of challenges, but the problem is that she had passed all the challenges and yet still had this personality of, I'm going to get you before you get me. And so I told her, I said, you have to give her some offerings and, and say, thank you so much for that side of you, that side of me that always helped me get through things. But now I need a little bit of your softer side. And so kind of, just making an offering to, bring in the other side of Oya, which really worked out really, really well, so that you have that balance that, you still speak your mind, but you kind of, just kind of filter yourself a little bit and you don't completely fly off the handle all the time. If you love or you fear thunderstorms, if you love or you're petrified, of the cemetery, it's always extremes, so you would have to look at the other things on the list and then kind of put those together and say, okay, this is kind of making sense. Even though I'm petrified of the cemeteries, I have these other attributes. So I think that this really, really resonates with me. Okay, obviously, if you can't tolerate lying, darker colors, of course, any of the garnets, the maroon, wine colors, those types of colors. So I think I got everything. And so, if any of these are, sound familiar to you, or you're like, oh my gosh, I'm the whole list, then you know that you may be a child of Oya, okay? So I wrote down a poem that I really felt like she was just like, as soon as I started reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, I could totally feel her presence. So I really just want you to kind of just take a deep breath for a second and imagine yourself in Africa. I want you to imagine, the surroundings. What does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it sound like? And just put that image in your mind. Okay. So I'm going to read her poem. I work in ways deep and ever present, always moving. I work in ways dramatic with thunder and lightning, sweeping and uprooting. I work in ways subtle, pushing and prodding, wearing and tearing. I swirl you and twirl you. I splatter you and scatter you. I shock you and I rock you. I clear the way for what is to come. I can be slight or stupendous, brief or everlasting, uproaring or uprising. What I cannot be is ignored. I hear the winds of Goddess Oya calling me. I hear the thunder, Goddess Oya calling me. Wake up, she calls. Listen, listen, listen. May my words of truth be clear. May my desire be unspoiled. May wisdom be learned. May intent be pure. May my life be a light for all. I hear the winds of Goddess Oya calling me. I hear the thunder of Goddess Oya calling me. Wake up, she calls. Wake up, she calls. Listen, listen, listen. I hear the voices of grandmothers calling me. I hear the voices of grandmothers calling me. Wake up, they say, wake up. Listen, listen, listen. May the rivers all run clear. May the mountains be unspoiled. May the trees grow tall. May the air be pure. May my winds be shared by all. I hear the voices of the grandmothers call my name. Wake up, they say. Wake up and listen. So I really, really love that. And I'm at 13 minutes, so hopefully I'll be able to upload this. There's definitely going to be another part and probably a part 3 because I actually wanted to tell some stories about her and some of her more popular stories. And so that you can really, really kind of get to know her. She wants everybody to really, really, she wants to be known. Like, that's it. She basically, that's why it's got to be a 3-part series, because she really wants people to know her and know everything about her, so that when you set up your altar for her, because that's what she wants, you're going to know exactly everything that she wants, and there's not going to be any guessing, and it's going to be exactly the way that she wants it, because that's just the way it has to be. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I had a really a deep connection when I did this, so I hope it's apparent in the way I presented it and put everything together. All right, guys, so do your homework, do a little research on Oya, and I'll be doing two more parts. All right, guys, bye Global Witchy fans.